So how to design load test, stress test, endurance test, and spike test, right? So before that, can someone tell me what is the main objective of these load test, stress test, spike test, and endurance test? What is the main objective? Why we need to do these tests? Someone quick, yeah, please. Yeah, we are putting the peak load. Yes, correct only. Why we are doing these kind of different tests? What is the main objective of different? What is the load test? What do you mean by load test? What do you mean by stress test, spike test, endurance test? What is the main motto of doing these different kinds of tests? Let us take four tests. Okay. Yeah. What is the main motto of? Yeah. Yeah, correct. The main motto of all the four tests is to find the response time only. But what is the difference between a normal load test, stress, stress test, spike test, endurance test? So these are the main four kinds of tests which every performance tester will 90% of the times will do. There are some other tests also there, failover test is there. There are some other kinds of tests also there. But these are the four major tests that most of the performance testers will do, out of which only these three are very, very important. Endurance test will also do, and it depends, as I told now, it depends on the client. It depends on the client as per the test plan we do. Yes. What is the main motto? Anybody? Load, stress, spike, endurance test? Anyone, please? Yeah, by providing ramp up, ramp down only, we are doing all these tests. Ramp up, ramp down means I will tell you. Okay. So, yes, yes. Please try to figure it out. Yeah. What is the main motto of load test? First, we'll talk about load test. What is the main motto of load test? Anyone? That would be this is web. Yeah. System behavior. Correct. Yes. Then responsiveness. Correct. Yeah. Correct. CPU utilization. Memory utilization. Yes. Network utilization. Disk utilization. What is the variation response times, in order to identify what is the variation the response times. So in order to find out all these metrics, we are doing these kinds of tests. So before that, I told you, right? So there is a connection between all these servers. This is client side and this is server. This is server, right? Before that, let us see what is PT, performance testing. Why we need to do performance testing? Why we are doing performance testing? Yeah, same thing. So how an application is handling if a sudden load, an unconditional load, a variable load hits the application. It's the server. This entire thing we can call it as an application. Let us take this is an Amazon application. Let us consider this is an Amazon application. This Amazon application is having, let us example, two web servers, two app servers, two DB servers are there. So how this application is able to handle the load, is able to handle the load. So what is performance testing? In order to test the application stability, application stability, capacity, yes, responsiveness, variability, scalability, how the application can be scaled to the max, to what max extents we can scale the application, scalability. Okay, so in order to find out these metrics, these system behavior, we are going for an different kinds of tests. I told you we have Most of the times we are doing these four kinds of tests. So first, when it comes to load test, what is load test? Load test is a general and mandatory test before proceeding to any kind of test. You go to, if we have having, if you want to perform n number of tests, the first test you have to do is the load test. The load test is the main objective of load test is, if the application, this Amazon application is designed with 1,000 users, is designed for 1,000 users. The client comes to you and he tell you, I have 1,000 users, I have 1,000 registered users, these 1,000 users will hit my application. So with the designed number of users, you are going to perform the load test in order to identify how the application is behaving with this designed number of load. What is the response times? What is the response time? What is the CPU utilization? CPU utilization of web server, app server, DB server. Generally, it should not cross 70 to 75%. It should not cross 70 to 75% CPU utilization. DB CPU utilization. Memory. What is the usage of memory? Okay, and it should not cross more than 40%. 40% is not all the CPU. This load test should not consume more than 40%. During the load test, the memory of this web server, app server, DB server should not cross 40%. These are all threshold values. These are all threshold values which is designed by an industry standard. As per the industry standard, we have defined these threshold values. Okay, what happened to the response times? Whether all the response times are within the SLA or not, service level agreement, it should be always less than or equal to 5 seconds. And again, it depends on the type of transaction. These 5 seconds, it depends on the type of transaction. Okay, okay. Then have you identified any performance bottlenecks? SQL queries. How SQL queries are happening? Do you want to tune any SQL queries in order to identify long running queries? You can call it as a long or slow running queries. Slow running queries. Okay. Slow running queries which consumes the memory, also consumes the CPU, also affects the response time. Also, it affects the response time. Which one? The slow running queries. Okay. And what happens to the table? Index DB indexes. In the sense, we have a database. In the database, we have a memory cluster. In the memory cluster, we have some tables. In the tables, we have some data. And we have multiple users. User 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. We should not call it a user. These are called threads or process. If one thread or one process is accessing the data, is accessing this data, it locks, while this thread is accessing this data, it locks the table. When this table is locked by a particular thread, the other process, for example process 2, it has to wait until this thread 1 or process 1 releases this data. Okay, so in order to identify such kind of issues, db blockings. Have you found any db blockings? Okay, these are also called as a deadlocks. Is there any deadlocks are identified? What is the what is the heap memory utilization? Heap memory. Heap memory means, for example, while you are running a test, you know, right? What is temporary memory and what is permanent memory? What do you mean by temporary memory? Permanent memory? Any idea what you mean by temporary memory and permanent memory? So the entire database is divided The memory in the CPU, the memory in the CPU is divided into temp memory and permanent memory. What do you mean by temporary memory and permanent memory? So permanent memory means where you need to store all the values, all the data. Data is stored. Permanent data. You can call it as a permanent data like usernames, passwords, such type of things. What is temporary memory means used to store the temporary variables. See, while you are designing, you have defined int, like we have defined that int a equal to 5. Correct? Int a is equal to 5. Char b is equal to some ra. So these are all temporary variables. These are all temporary variables which you have declared in your program or in your script. Once this script has been executed, these temporary variables should be cleared, right? Should be cleared. Should be cleared. These temporary, no need to store these temporary variables are not storing in the permanent memory. So because if you store temporary variables in the permanent memory, in order to retrieve that temporary variables, you will take more time. In order to avoid this extra time, okay, architects, CPU architects, they have designed one small temporary memory inside the CPU, not in the database, not in the DB. Inside the CPU, inside your processor, they have created one temporary variable, temporary memory, which is used to store these intermediate variables. These variables, this A, this B, are called intermediate variables. Intermediate variables. Okay, so in order to store these intermediate variables, okay, architects has been designed some small memory which we are calling it as a temporary memory. Once this script is executed, what we have to do? We have to clear that memory. Once the script is executed, we have to design a program. We have to design a program to clear this memory, to clear these variables which is storing in this memory. So this memory, what we call it as a heap memory. Heap memory. And the program, what we call it as a garbage collector. Correct? These are garbage, right? So they are not required. Once the program is executed, there is no need to store A, there is no need to store B, there is no need to store these intermediate variables. So we have defined, we have stored a garbage collector program in order to clear these temporary variables. So whether this garbage collector program is properly clearing the heap memory or not. If this heap memory is full, what happens? If this heap memory is full, then there is an increase in the response times. Definitely, right? It has to wait. The process has to wait until this heap memory gets cleared. So this temporary memory should be cleared by this garbage collector frequently. Frequently. Once the script has been executed. Once the loop, for example, loop 10, for example, loop is equal to 10. So in the sense 10 times you have to iterate, 10 times you have to iterate. So this 10, somewhere you need to store this 10, right? How machine knows it has to iterate for 10? Somewhere it will store this value 10, so that for every iteration it will do -1, so 9. So for the next iteration -1, 8. For the next iteration -1, 7. So somewhere you need to store this value. After this loop iterate for 10 times, what is this value comes? After 10 times, what this value becomes? 0. Okay, once it is 0, it should come out of the loop. So this value should be cleared every time. This value should be cleared every time. So these values are stored in permanent memory or temporary memory. Is it required to store these values in the permanent memory? Is it required? No, right? This is not a temporary permanent data. So there is no need to store these values in the permanent memory. So where we are storing these values? These values are stored in the temporary memory. So these values are called intermediate variables. Okay. Okay. So in order to identify all these things, DB blockings, memory issues, all these things, to test what we are doing is a load test. So how we design load test? So here, number of users, number of users. This is duration or time. So I said 1,000 users. So you have to design. So ramp up for five users for every 5 seconds. 5 seconds. So 5 users, 10 users, 20, 100, sorry, 100, 200, 300, 400, 1,000. So this value is, so okay. So 1,000 users. This is called ramp up duration. So for example, it take 10 minutes. It take 5 minutes for ramp up. So ramping up all the users in the application. Ramping up means all these users are hitting the application, hitting the servers, web app db server. All these users are hitting the server and they are performing their own actions. They are booking the flights, they are doing registration, whatever is there in the script, they are doing all the activities on the server. So once all the 1,000 users becomes turns to active users, okay, active users means they are performing some transaction on the server. You basically, it will be designed for 1 hour. Basically load test is designed for 1 hour. So this duration is called steady state duration. Steady state duration. So after that, so similarly ramp down. Okay, so this is the basic agenda of the, this is how you can design the load test. This is basically how you design the load test. So ramp up, steady state duration, ramp down. So after completing the test, so one hour, ramp down 5 minutes. So total test duration is 1 hour 10 minutes. Okay. After test completes, export the file to the analysis for analysis using analysis. We don't want this 10 minutes. Analyze this 1 hour duration only. Analyze this 1 hour duration only. What you are going to analyze in this 1 hour duration? What is the response times? What is the hits per second? What is the throughput achieved? What is hits per second? What is the response time? What is the increase in virtual users? What is the CPU utilization, memory utilization, any performance bottlenecks, any slow running queries? All the things you are going to analyze in this 1 hour. Okay. Once you confirm that all the response times are within the SLA, for example, within the 5 seconds, the response CPU utilization is less than 70 to 75%, memory utilization is less than 40%, there is no issues, then you are releasing the certificate that load test is pass. Pass. Okay. Once this test is passed, once this test is certified, then you will go for the stress test. Okay. Stress test. Now what is the okay, we will come to stress test next. First we will design how the load test, the basic load test in the load runner. You know, right, I already shown you how to design the basic load test in the load runner. I will also explain you how to design that in the Jmeter also. Downloads. This is what you want to open. This is Apache Jmeter. Okay, so first we will design it in the load runner. So if you open the controller, it will open like this. Select the script, add, click on OK. If you click on OK, it will open like this. Okay, the first page is design page, next page is run page, next page is diagnostic page. So here, see, you are going to see running users, any errors, how many transactions passed, how many transactions failed. Okay, what is the response time, how many number of connections are there. So all these details you can measure. We can measure. Okay, before that, first we need to design, right? So in order to design this, first the normal load test. So quantity you need to provide. So initially it will be disabled. So don't worry. So you have to click on basic schedule. Click on yes. Provide the quantity. So 1,000 users, right? Click on 1,000. So you are running this script with 1,000 users. So okay, initialize initialize each user just before it runs. Okay, this is a basic thing. Just before it runs, it won't initialize 1,000 users at a time. So whenever it is required, just before that it will initialize. Next, start with users. How to start? Basically, by default, every performance tester will do 5 users every 5 seconds. Okay, apply, click on OK. See, this is how it will looks like. So for every 5 seconds, 5 users are ramping up. So totally how much time it take? Totally 16 minutes. Totally approximately 16 minutes it take to ramp up 1,000 users, 200 users, 400, 600, 800, 1,000 users. 16 minutes. So after that, what is the time? I said, what is the basic time to run for load test? Yes. How much time we run? Yes, 1 hour. So number of days is 0. Hour is 1 hour. 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 hour. Okay. Apply. Click on OK. See, this is ramp up 1 hour. Ramp down. Again, this is stop users. So how to stop users? Select this. 5 users every 5 seconds. 5 seconds or 30 seconds. This is ramped. So sorry, this is not 5 seconds. Basically, 5 users for every 30 seconds is the industry standard. So this is our load test. Since it is in change the run for 1 hour. 0, 1, 0, 0. Ramp down 5 users every 30 seconds. Similar this also 5 users every 30 seconds. Okay, so this is ramp down. So this is ramp up. This is steady state. This is ramp down. Okay, so like this, basically you will design the normal load test in the controller. So LoadRunner controller. If you go to Jmeter, so transfer. This is our previous script which I am opening. Yeah, it is open, right? So what we have to do? Delete this. We have to add a new thread group, not this thread group. You have to add thread group. You have to add an ultimate thread group. Under test plan, you have to add an ultimate thread group and rename this as a load test. Okay, so this is our load test. So see, add row, click on add row. After creating the ultimate thread group, add row. See, this is basically added. So how many users you want to run? If you want to run with 1,000 users, 1,000 users. 1,000 users, see 1,000. Okay, 0, 100, 200, 300, 1,000 users. Initial delay, there is no need to provide any delay. Initialization, here how we are doing initialization. Similarly, we are not providing any initial. Here we are giving right initial each user just before it runs. Similarly, we are not providing any initialization. So start immediately. Startup time. So 30 seconds. I provide ramp up. Startup time is ramp up time. So in 30 seconds, all the users has to ramp up. For example, 60 seconds. Take 1 minute. If you do 1 minute, so it take 1 minute. See, 1 minute. So it took 1 minute to ramp up all the 1,000 users. So whatever the ramp up you want to provide, you have to provide here. So hold. How much time? What is the steady state duration? What is the duration you want to run the test? So I want to run the test for 1 hour. So what is that? Convert it to seconds. Convert 1 hour into seconds. What is the value? 600. So 1 hour. Okay. Shut down. Shut down means ramp down. And similarly, I will provide 60 seconds. So see, this is how you will design a scenario in the Jmeter. Okay, this is how you can design the scenario in the load test scenario in the Jmeter. Next, coming to stress test. So, what is the main intention of stress test? If you see, what is the main intention of stress test? So, see, so same stress test will have only ramp up. That's it. It doesn't have any steady state duration. It doesn't have any ramp down duration. Stress test. So I told you, right, we have an application and it is basically designed to work with 1000 users. So basically we go with 3x, x3 or x5. What is x3 means? See, as per the test plan, this application is designed for 1000 users. Multiply with 3. In the sense, 3000 users. You have to design the test with 3000 users. Okay, 100, 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000. Okay, in the sense, you are continuously increasing the load. You are continuously increasing the load. So okay, here at this point of time, for example, in 5th minute 100 users, in the 10th minute to 500 users, in the 30th minute 1000 users are there in the application, are accessing the application. Actually, active users, these are all active users. Okay, so what is the main intention of stress test? Is in order to find out the break point or the application crash point or the peak point. You can call it in any way. So at what user load the application gets crashed? So you are increasing the load and you are monitoring the test. You are monitoring the test in any one of the APM tool like App Dynamics or Dynatrace. You take any or Neuralink, take any app monitoring APM tool. So while during this test, you are monitoring this test with the help of this APM tool, application performance monitoring tool. So now here at this 5th minute, 100 users. So what is the response time? 30th in half an hour, 1000 users are there. What is the response time? Variation in the response time. How the application is behavior, CPU, memory, everything you are continuously monitoring. And again you are increasing 1500, 1200. Definitely the response times is increasing. Definitely response times you are increasing. But here we are not concentrating on the response times. What we are concentrating on? Where we are getting the application gets crashed. What is the maximum load that application can be capable of handling? So server unavailable. We want to see this message, server unavailable. Okay, 2000 users, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2500, 2500, 3000. Still, we are not getting this message. The application is working. Okay, anyhow, response times are increasing. Don't bother about it. We are not concentrating on the response time. Okay, CPU utilization also increases. Instead of 75, 80, 85, 90%. Still, the application is functioning. We are getting the response for our request. Okay, still the application is functioning with 3000 users also. Next, what you have to do? Still, you have to increase 3100, 3500, 4000. So you are going to increase the user load. At certain point, definitely the application gets crashed. Okay, so in order to find out this peak point, you are designing the stress test. Okay, this is the main intention of stress test. Got it? So now you are able to distinguish between load test and stress test, right? Load test is a basic test designed for 1 hour with a designed number of users, only 1,000 users. How the application is behaving, what happens to the response times, all these things we are considering in the load test. But in stress test, we are not concentrating on the response times. We are not concentrating on the threshold levels of CPU, memory, all the things. We are only concentrating on where the at which point, at which peak load the application gets crashed. This is the main intention of stress test. For this, go to LoadRunner controller. So for stress test, there is no steady state duration, delete it. There is no ramp down, delete it. This is how you are designing. 1,000 users, not 1,000 users, right? 3,000 users. Okay, 3,000 users. See, 3,000 users. So continuously you are doing. See how many hours you are taking. 4 hours. You are running the test with 4 hours. So if you want to decrease the time, now you don't want to run for 4 hours means. So increase the ramp up speed. 5 users every 30 seconds. Instead of 30 seconds, 10 seconds only. Increase the ramp up speed. Now it comes to 1 hour 30 minutes. Still you want to increase more, right? So like this you will do. One user 1 second. It comes to 45 seconds. Correct? One user 1 second. So one user 1 second. So it continuously it comes to 45. In 45 minutes, all the 3,000 users will ramp up. So, but at certain point, definitely you will get a crash. Still, you are not getting any application crash. Increase the load. Instead of 3,000, go to 5,000. Click on apply. Okay, it goes to 1 hour 20 minutes. So the total duration is 1 hour 20 minutes. There is please observe carefully. There is no steady state. There is no ramp down. Okay, only ramp up. Ramp up. This you can call it as a ramp up test also. So basically, we call this as a stress test only. You can also call it as a ramp up test. So only ramp up is there. The users are slowly increasing. This is how you can design. Got it? Any doubts, please? So similarly, if you want to design the same thing in the Jmeter, this is stress test. So how you will design? So not the 1,000 users, right? This time I will increase to 3,000 users. 3,000 users ramp up. No, I don't want any hold. This is 0. I don't want any ramp down. This is also 0. So this look like this. This is the stress test. So 3,000 users. You are continuously increasing the users. Okay. If you want to speed up, instead of 60 seconds, decrease it to 30 seconds. Now it will speed up. 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes. Sorry, 30. It's minutes only. Yeah, 30 minutes, correct. 30 seconds. Okay, no. It's 30 seconds for 3,000 years. No. So, what is the time? You want to run this test for 1 hour, 3,600 you have to provide. Okay. So, in 1 hour, all these 3,000 users slowly hits the application and they will become an active users, and you are continuously at the same time parallelly you are monitoring the test whether you are getting any 500 errors. What is the 500? What do you mean? What is 500 error? What is HTTP status code 500? Yeah, server unavailable. Okay. So if you found 500 means, so slowly the application is unable to handle the situation. So but you didn't find any 5,500 error with 3,000 user load. What you will do? You 3,000 you do it for 5,000. Okay. See, now the 5,000 users, the expected parallel user count is 500, 5,000. Slowly they are increasing, and you have designed the test for 1 hour. This is how you can design the stress test in Jmeter. And coming to what is the third test? What is the third test? Yes, spike test. Spike test means the motto of this test is without any, for spike test there is no ramp up. There is no ramp up. Ramp up is 0. Okay, in the sense 100 users suddenly at a time you are hitting 100 users and you are running this test for 10 minutes, and ramp down is also 0. Ramp up and ramp down is 0. Only duration, steady state duration is there. Only steady state duration will be there. Okay, so 10 minutes. Then what you are doing, for example, and you wait for 1 minute. After 1 minute you are suddenly increasing the load to 200 and you are running the test for 10 minutes, and suddenly you are ramping down. See, observe the difference. Observe the difference between this line and this line. What is the difference between this line and this line? Linear line and straight line. Yes, please observe carefully. What is the difference between this line and this line? What is the difference between this line and this line? Yes, what is the difference between this line and this line? There is a delay. Slowly there is a delay. 1 second there is a delay. The users are ramping up slowly, one by one, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. The users are slowly hitting the application. But here at a time with zero delay, at a time all the 100 users are hitting the application. Okay, if you see, for 100 users, first line takes 10 minutes 10 minutes to reach 100 users, but to reach 100 users the second line will take 0 minutes. In 0 minutes only it reaches 100. So there is no delay. So if there is a sudden load, if there is a sudden load hit in the application with 0 ramp up and 0 ramp down, only duration is there. So how the application is behaving? So this is step 1 or spike 1. This is spike 2. This is same test only. This is one test only. This is spike 2. And let us consider this is 1000. Okay, 100 only, 200. Let us consider next time I am increasing 300. At a time 300 users are hitting the application and you are running the test for 10 minutes and ramping down. Now after 1 minute, this is cooling period. Cooling period means this, in this 1 minute, what is the load in this 1 minute? During this 1 minute, what is the load? What is the load on the application? During this 1 minute, what is the load on the application? 0 users. So there is no load on the application. So the application gets some relax cooling period. You can call it as a cooling period. Okay. Okay. So this is the, so how the application is behaving if there is a sudden spike in the users. So see, if you take an IRCT application, very good as an example, this one is, you can take an IRCTC, Indian Railways application. Indian Railways application is having 10 lakhs or 100 lakhs of users. If you see, all these 100 lakhs users will not hit the application at the time. and all these 100 lakh users are not accessing the application every time, every minute, every hour, every second, right? So first thing what you will do with these 100 lakh users, with a proper ramp up, proper steady state, and proper ramp down, you design a load test. This is load test. So observe the durations. What is it? What is the response times? You verify all the metrics. Then what you will do, instead of load test, all this, instead of 100 lakhs, you are going to increase the 200 lakhs without any continuously. This is 100 lakhs, right? This point is 100 lakhs. After 100 lakhs, 101 lakh, 102 lakhs, you are continuously increasing the load in order to get the application crashing point. This is 200 lakh users. If 200 lakhs users, until 200 lakhs users, you are continuously increasing the load. This is stress. Then what is spike means? See, um, during between the tatkal period like 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. morning, what happens? Out of these 100 lakh users, not all the 100 lakh users, at least 1 lakh users will hit the application at a time, correct? At least 1 lakh users will hit the application at a time. So you take this is not so take 1 lakh users. This is 1 lakh, let it be. This is 1 lakh users. During this 1 hour, 11 to 10, 1 lakh users. So 1 hour or 10 minutes only, it is enough. 10 minutes. Again 1 lakh users down. After 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. 1 hour. Okay. So what if 1 lakh users hits the application at a time? Check this. So for example, in during festival season, not only 1 lakh users, sometimes 2 lakh users will also hit the application at a time. So for that purpose, take 2 lakh users, run for 10 minutes. This is 2 lakh users. For example, in another season, 5 lakh users will hit the application at a time. Suddenly 5 lakh users hit the application, run it for 10 minutes, tamp down. This is 5 lakh users. This is 2 lakh users. Okay. This is the main motto of spike test. So during this duration, what is the response time? What is the memory utilization? What is the CPU utilization? What is the heap utilization? What is the slow running queries? What are the blockings? What are the DB blockings? All the metrics you analyze. During this duration, what is the response time? For example, here the response time is 5 seconds. Here the response time becomes, let it be 7 seconds. During this period, what happened to the response time? Let it be 10 seconds. So you should have this picture before going this application into the production, or you can call it as a live. Before going this application live, you should have this picture. If 1 lakh users hits the application, the response time is 5 seconds. Okay. If 2 lakh users hits the application, response time is 7 seconds. Okay. If 5 lakh users hits the application, the response time is 10 seconds. Okay, acceptable. There is no issues until unless you should get this 500 server unavailable issues. You should not go. For example, with 5 lakh users, suddenly 5 lakh users hits the application. If you found these 500 errors, then you should tune your application. You have to tune. So what is the cause? Why the application turns to 500 users? You have to check. You identified that app server CPU utilization touches 100% during this period. App server CPU utilization touches 100%. So what is your recommendation now? You identify the bottleneck. The bottleneck is present in the app server. So what is your recommendation now? What is your recommendation you have to provide with the product owner, IRCTC product owner, you have to provide some recommendation. What recommendation you will provide? See, with the current hardware of, let it be some 2 core 16 GB, with this 2 core 16 GB, The maximum capacity that this IRCTC, your application will survive when 5 lakh users hits the application is this is the capacity. It won't survive with 5 lakh users suddenly hits the application. The CPU touches 100%. So you increase the capacity of the app server. Increase the capacity. Vertical scaling or suggest for horizontal scaling. You scale the capacity of the server. So instead of 2 core 16 GB, go for 4 core 32 GB. Increase the capacity. So then product owner will increase the capacity of the server hardware. Then again you conduct the same test. Observe the response times. Observe the utilization. So this time definitely it will comes around instead of 100%. This time instead of 100%, it comes to 70%. Then okay, you say okay, your application is able to handle 5 lakh users at a time with the increase in the capacity of the hardware. Okay, like this you have to provide the recommendation to the client. So this is the main objective of spike test. Okay, this is the main objective of spike test. So let's see how to design this in Jmeter. This is spike test. Okay, so 1000 users is the application at a time. Okay, delay is 0 only. Startup time is 0. Hold it for 10 minutes. 10 minutes means 600 seconds, correct? 600 seconds. Okay. Add one more row. Now instead of 1000 you provide 2000 users. Startup delay you make it as 0. Again you run it for 10 minutes. 10 minutes means 600 seconds. These 2000 users you have to provide the delay after 600, right? After 10 minutes you have to do. Okay, this is how you can design. Okay, 10 minutes shutdown, right? All the users has to shut down, right? Okay, shutdown, initial delay, startup is 0, shutdown, some 10. Okay, 6, 10. Okay, okay, and shutdown is 10. Okay, or if you want to initial delay, okay, 620 will provide. So like this. Okay, so this is the first spike. For 10 minutes you run, suddenly 1000 users hit. See, there is no like this, there is no ramp up. In stress test, in load test, we have ramp up. Right? In spike test, there is no ramp up. So, zero we have provided. So suddenly all 1000 users hits the application and they will continue for 10 minutes and come down. And they come down. Okay, they come down. After that, they will wait for 10 minutes. Again, one more spike. Again, if you want to design one more spike, add row. This time, instead of 2000, you provide 3000. Delay 600 plus 600, 1200. 1220. Okay, this is 0. So again, you run it for shutdown. Okay, this is how you can design the spike test in Jmeter. Okay, if you don't want to run 10 minutes, if you want to run 5 minutes only, provide 300. 300. This will run for only 3 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes. 300 means 5 minutes. 600 seconds means 10 minutes. 600. If you want to run this for 15 minutes, 900. Okay. Got it? If we increase this, 640. Okay, fine. Then will be a delay. Okay, the shadow. So this is how you can design the spike test. So whatever the delay you want to create. This is load test. If you observe load test, proper ramp up, 1 hour duration, proper ramp down. If you go to stress test, there is no steady state and ramp down. Only continuously you are increasing the, you have only the ramp up. Whereas in case of spike, there is no ramp up. Suddenly 9,000 users hits the application and they will continue the test for 10 minutes, ramp down. They will wait for some duration, 1 minute, like this. Correct? 1 minute they will wait. Then again 1,000 users hits the application. They will continue for 10 minutes, ramp down. Okay. If you want to wait, you can wait. You can provide some delay. It will wait. Okay. And third spike. Design the third spike like this by providing like this. So for this, what you need an ultimate thread group. With the help of normal thread group, you can't design. You can't design normal with the help of normal thread group. You need ultimate thread group. Here, if you observe, this is an ultimate thread group. With the help of ultimate thread group, you can design this load test and spike test. Similarly, in controller also same thing. Same thing. After start, this one you have to click this add action after. First this button, add action after. So after this action, so start users or stop users. If you want to stop users, okay, apply. It will stop users. Next, add another action. If you click on this add another action, start users. How many users? For example, 1,000 users you want to have, apply. So 1,000 users, and again add action. Click on duration. What is the duration you want to run? If you want to run for 10 minutes, apply. Again add another action. Stop users, simultaneously apply. Stopped. Okay, duration we have provided less here. That is the reason why it shows. Instead of 10 minutes, we will make it for 50 minutes, for example. Then you can see the graph clearly. So still you are not. Okay, somewhere. Okay, 1 hour, 2 hours we will design. Okay, 2 hours. Okay, stop users. You can click on this. Again, start users. What is the value we want to put here? Here you have to provide some value. Again, 2,000 I will provide. Simultaneously, 2,000 users. If you see this graph. Okay. Again, add duration. What is the duration? Let it be 5 hours. Okay, 5 hours. Like this you can design. This is one spike, this is another spike. After this spike, stop all the users simultaneously. If you want to stop all the users simultaneously, it will stop. Otherwise, you have to provide a proper ramp up. You can do like this. So it will do like this. This is how you can design the users. Sorry. Yeah, you provide delay. Yeah, 1 second. Run duration. After duration, after stop users, select this. Yeah, duration. Okay, 10 minutes. So in these 10 minutes, stop all users. See, this is 10 minutes. We are not providing after stop. See, after stop, we are providing 10 minutes of delay. Here, no users are ramping up. This is a delay, 10 minutes delay. After that, start with users, some thousand. Provide some delay. That is enough. Simultaneously apply. So this is a delay. It is why it stop users after stop. Okay, it is since it is very high value, it is not showing all the graph properly. We design. You are not able to see. That's it. That is the difference. See. So yeah, this is duration, right? See here you have started 2000 users. You are running it for 5 hours. You are stopping all the users. After stopping all the users, you are maintaining this delay duration for 10 minutes. Users are stopped, right? There is no users running on this system. So you are maintaining this delay, 10 minutes delay. Again, then you are starting. You want to see this carefully. Delete, yes. Okay. We have delete from last. We will deal with only hundreds, then it will be clear. Okay. 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 Start 5,000. No need of 5,000. We will provide 100 users. One user, 1 second. Okay. After that, no, 0, right? Okay. Spike we are designing. So simultaneously. So 100 users simultaneously. After that, duration you provide for 10 minutes. Okay. Only 5 minutes. 5 minutes. After that, stop users. Cancel this. Stop users simultaneously. After that, click on this. Start users. How many? One more. 200. This time 200. We'll provide 200. Okay. You got it right? So 2000. After this, duration. Select duration. You will run it for 5 minutes. Apply. Okay. After duration, don't provide stop users, right? Add action. Stop users simultaneously. Then what? Now tell me what you have to add here, Nandini. After stop, after duration, select this. Instead of start, select duration for 5 minutes. Click on apply. Okay. So duration is 0. After duration, one more action. Start users. This time 300 users you provide simultaneously. Okay. After start, add the duration. Duration for 5 minutes only. Apply. Okay. After duration, stop the users. Stop the users all simultaneously. Apply. You stop it. After stop, again click on duration. Apply. Okay. Waiting. So this is how you can design in LoadRunner. Okay. This is first spike, second spike, third spike. 100 users, 200 users, 300 users. Okay. If you double click, it will also show. You can double click on here also, it will show. Okay. So this is the importance of stress spike. Endurance test, right? Endurance is a very simple test. So with a fourth kind of test. Endurance test means instead of running the test for 1 hour duration, you are running the test for longer duration, very long time. You run the test for 8 hours. Long time, in long time, the minimum time is 8 hours. You are running the test for 8 hours. The same ramp up, 8 hours you are running the test. 8 hours, 16 hours, one day also you can run endurance test. Why you are running the test for longer duration means in order to identify the memory leaks. Memory leaks means I told you, right? Heap memory. Heap memory. These temporary variables are properly cleared or not by the garbage collector algorithm. Is there any memory you are getting? If you are you facing any memory full issues? Memory full. Why? Because see this test you are not running even with 1,000 users also. What is 1,000? The application is designed to run access for 1,000 users. You are running only with 500 users, or sometimes 1,000 users also will run. Okay, so 1,000 users, with the 1,000 users, you are not stressing the application. You are not spiking the application. You are not putting much load on the application. The normal load. You run this test with normal load for long duration. For long duration, 8 hours, 16 hours, one day, in order to identify how database is working. So what happens if you run the test for long hours? What happens to the memory? What happens to the memory? Are you getting any memory issues, memory full issues, heap memory is properly functioning or not, garbage collector algorithm is properly cleaning the garbage means temporary variables, referenced objects, unreferenced objects are properly cleared or not. In order to identify such kind of memory leaks, you can call the technical term as a memory leak. In order to identify the memory leaks, you are running the endurance test for longer duration of time with a normal load, with 8 hours, 16 hours, or even for one day also. Some performance testers will do it for one day also continuously. If 1,000 users hitting the application for one day, what happens to the memory? Definitely memory will slowly increase, right? Slowly increase, because all 1,000 users are active for 24 hours. So how this temporary memory is working, how this permanent memory is working, how database is working, all these things. So there is no issue with the app and web servers, because app server, web server will properly function, because there is no load, much load on the app and web, because we are running the test with normal load only. So we are here, we are main in endurance test, we are mainly concentrating on the memory. Okay. Okay. So is it clear? Any doubts, please?